It was a bright Monday morning at Sunshine College. Students were rushing to classes, and the sun was shining high in the sky. Among them was a girl named Amina, the governor's daughter. She was cheerful and smart, known for her big smile and kind heart. But today, there was an unusual tension in the air. Amina had heard whispers about a possible attack from a dangerous group. Everyone was worried, but they didn't want to think about it. Little did they know, danger was closer than they imagined. Meanwhile, in the security office, a man named Mr. Kofi was preparing for his day. Mr. Kofi was a tall, strong man with a gentle heart. He had worked as a security guard at the college for many years. He loved his job and cared deeply for the students. As he put on his uniform, he sensed something was off. He couldn't shake the feeling that today would be different. He took a deep breath and reminded himself to stay alert. Classes began, and everything seemed normal. Amina sat in her history class, eagerly listening to her teacher. She loved learning about her country's past. Outside, Mr. Kofi patrolled the campus, making sure everyone was safe. He smiled at the students and waved at the teachers. Everyone admired Mr. Kofi. He was like a big brother to them all. But just as Amina was about to answer a question, the ground shook. A loud bang echoed across the campus. Students screamed, and panic filled the air. Amina's heart raced as she looked around. Mr. Kofi rushed toward the sound, his instincts kicking in. He knew he had to protect the students. He quickly radioed for help and instructed everyone to stay calm. He saw Amina, terrified and confused. "Stay close, Amina," he shouted, trying to reach her through the crowd. But the chaos grew as a group of masked men stormed onto the campus. The masked men shouted orders, demanding everyone to get down. Amina dropped to the ground, her heart pounding in her chest. Mr. Kofi quickly scanned the area, searching for a way to keep the students safe. He knew he couldn't let anything happen to Amina or anyone else. The men were armed and dangerous, and they had come for a reason. Mr. Kofi felt a surge of determination. He was not going to let fear control him. As the terrorists yelled, they searched for the governor's daughter. "Where is she?" one of them shouted, his voice filled with anger. Amina's eyes widened in fear. She realized they were looking for her. Mr. Kofi noticed Amina was in danger. He had to act quickly. "Stay down," he yelled to the other students as he quietly moved toward Amina. He knew he had to protect her at all costs. Mr. Kofi reached Amina and whispered, "We need to get out of here." He could see the fear in her eyes, but he wanted her to be brave. "Trust me," he said softly. He had a plan. He spotted a nearby classroom with a window that was still open. If they could make it there, they might have a chance to escape. He looked around, making sure no one was watching them closely. Amina nodded, feeling a little braver with Mr. Kofi by her side. He grabbed her hand, and they started to move. They crawled on the ground, staying low to avoid being seen. The chaos around them was loud, but they focused on each other. They could hear the terrorists shouting and demanding answers. Mr. Kofi kept his eyes on the classroom, determined to get Amina to safety. As they crawled, Mr. Kofi spotted another student, Ibrahim, hiding behind a bush. "Come with us," he whispered urgently. Ibrahim hesitated but then nodded, realizing he was safer with Mr. Kofi. They moved quickly toward the classroom. Each moment felt like an eternity. Just as they reached the door, one of the terrorists shouted, "I see you." Mr. Kofi's heart raced, but he pushed the door open and pulled Amina and Ibrahim inside. Inside the classroom, they locked the door and breathed heavily. Amina looked at Mr. Kofi, her eyes wide. "What do we do now?" she asked, trembling. Mr. Kofi thought quickly. "We need to find a way to call for help," he replied. He scanned the room and saw a landline phone on the wall. "I'll call the police," he said, moving toward it. But just as he reached for the phone, they heard a loud bang against the door. The sound of the door rattling sent chills down their spines. Mr. Kofi knew they didn't have much time. "They're coming," he warned. He quickly picked up the phone and dialed for help. As he spoke to the operator, he could hear the terrorists yelling outside. "We know you're in there," one of them shouted, kicking the door again. Amina and Ibrahim exchanged terrified glances. Mr. Kofi focused on the operator, explaining the situation as quickly as he could. We need help now. There are armed men on campus, he urged. Just then, the door started to splinter. Mr. Kofi realized they had to act fast. He turned to Amina and Ibrahim. We need to find another way out. Follow me. He grabbed a nearby chair and wedged it against the door, hoping it would buy them some time. They quickly searched the room for another exit. Mr. Kofi remembered that some classrooms had windows that led to the outside. Let's check the back, he said, leading Amina and Ibrahim to the far side of the room. As they moved, the banging on the door grew louder. Amina felt her heart racing as she glanced back at the door, fearing it would burst open any second. Finally, they found a window. Mr. Kofi opened it, and a cool breeze rushed in. It's our only way out, he said, helping Amina climb through first. She looked back nervously. What about you? She asked. I'll be right behind you, he assured her. He helped Ibrahim through the window and then squeezed through himself. They landed softly in the grass outside, but they knew they weren't safe yet. As they got outside, Mr. Kofi quickly scanned the area. They could see students running away from the main building, but they also spotted the terrorists moving toward them. We need to hide, he said urgently. They dashed toward a nearby grove of trees, hoping to stay out of sight. The trees were thick, and they crouched behind a large trunk, catching their breath. Amina was scared but felt comforted by Mr. Kofi's presence. What do we do now? She whispered. Mr. Kofi thought hard. We wait for the police to arrive, but we also need to make sure those men don't find us, he replied. He looked around, making a plan in his mind. They needed to stay quiet and remain hidden until help arrived. From their hiding place, they could hear the terrorists shouting and searching for them. They can't get away, one of them yelled. Amina squeezed her eyes shut, trying to block out the noise. Mr. Kofi held her hand, reassuring her that they would be okay. He peeked out from behind the tree, trying to keep an eye on the situation. Suddenly, they heard a loud bang, followed by the sound of sirens in the distance. Help is coming, Mr. Kofi whispered, feeling a rush of hope. But just then, one of the terrorists got closer, scanning the area. Mr. Kofi knew they had to stay still and quiet. Don't make a sound, he urged Amina and Ibrahim. They held their breath, praying the terrorist wouldn't find them. The terrorist moved around, looking under bushes and behind trees. Amina felt her heart racing again. She could see the fear in Mr. Kofi's eyes, but she also saw his determination. He would protect them, no matter what. The terrorist paused just a few feet away, and Amina's stomach dropped. She held onto Mr. Kofi's hand tightly, hoping they wouldn't be discovered. Just as the man was about to take another step, the sound of police sirens grew louder. The terrorist turned and shouted, "They're here! Let's go!" He ran back toward the college, and Mr. Kofi took a deep breath. Now's our chance, he said. They quickly climbed out from behind the tree and ran in the opposite direction, heading toward the sound of the sirens. As they ran, Amina's legs felt heavy, but she pushed herself to keep going. Mr. Kofi was right beside her, guiding them through the trees. Stay close, he called out. They could see the flashing lights of police cars in the distance. The sight filled Amina with hope. We're almost there, she shouted. Suddenly, they heard shouting again. Over there, a voice called out. Amina's heart sank. She knew they weren't safe yet. Mr. Kofi grabbed her hand tighter, urging her to run faster. They were nearing the edge of the woods, where they could see the campus entrance. We have to make it to the police, he urged, his voice filled with determination. Finally, they broke through the trees and stumbled onto the main road leading to the college. A few police officers were directing students to safety. Mr. Kofi waved his arms, yelling, "This way! We need help!" The officers turned and rushed toward them. "Stay behind us," one shouted, and they quickly moved toward safety. Amina felt a wave of relief wash over her as they reached the officers. "We need to get to the command center," one officer said. Mr. Kofi nodded. "We have to keep her safe," he said, glancing at Amina. She looked up at him, grateful for his bravery. They were finally safe, but Amina couldn't shake the feeling of dread. The danger was not over yet. As they reached the command center, Amina saw her classmates huddled together, frightened but safe. Her heart ached for them. She thought about the friends who might still be in danger. Mr. Kofi noticed her worry. "You did great, Amina. You're safe now," he reassured her. They were in a secure area, and the police were working hard to protect everyone. Amina took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. She watched as officers set up barriers and talked into their radios. She felt a mix of fear and relief. Mr. Kofi stood by her, keeping a watchful eye on everything around them. He wanted to make sure she was okay. "We'll get through this together," he said softly, making Amina feel a little better. Minutes turned into hours as they waited for news. Amina sat with Mr. Kofi, who continued to reassure her. "The police are doing everything they can. Just stay strong," he said. She nodded but felt anxious about her friends who were still missing. "What if they can't find everyone?" she asked quietly. Mr. Kofi placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "They will find them. You have to believe that," he replied. Just then, they heard a loud cheer from outside. The police had captured some of the terrorists. Amina's heart raced with hope. Maybe they would be safe after all. But she still felt nervous until she saw all her friends were accounted for. As the police worked, Amina learned that many students had been helped by brave security guards like Mr. Kofi. She realized how important he was, not just to her but to everyone at the college. The officers began calling out names, reuniting friends and family members. Amina looked around, feeling grateful for the help they had received. Mr. Kofi watched Amina, proud of her strength. "You're a hero too," he said. Amina smiled, feeling a warmth in her heart. She knew she had to help others too, just like Mr. Kofi had helped her. With every student that was found, the atmosphere grew lighter. They were all safe now, but the fear of the day still lingered in their minds. As the sun began to set, Amina felt a sense of relief wash over her. The campus was filled with students hugging each other, thankful to be safe. Mr. Kofi had protected her and many others, and she felt a bond with him that she would never forget. "Thank you for everything," she said, her eyes shining with gratitude. Mr. Kofi smiled back. "I would do it all over again for you and your friends," he said. Amina felt inspired. She wanted to do something special for the people who had helped them. "Let's organize a thank you event for the police and security staff," she suggested, her excitement returning. Mr. Kofi nodded, impressed with her idea. "That's a great plan, Amina. Together, we can show our appreciation." In the days that followed, Amina began planning the thank you event. She rallied her friends, and they all pitched in to help. They decided to hold a barbecue on the campus lawn. Everyone was excited to celebrate their safety and show gratitude. Mr. Kofi helped with the arrangements, making sure everything was safe and secure. As the day of the event approached, Amina felt a sense of purpose. She wanted to honor the bravery of Mr. Kofi and the police officers. "This is our chance to say thank you," she told her friends. They agreed, and they worked hard to set up the tables and decorations. Amina could feel the excitement building among her classmates. On the day of the barbecue, the sun shone brightly, and everyone gathered on the lawn. There were tables filled with food and decorations that the students had made. Amina felt nervous but excited. She knew this event was important for everyone. Mr. Kofi stood nearby, watching as the students celebrated their safety. As Amina took the microphone to speak, she felt her heart race. "Thank you, everyone, for being here today," she began. "We are so grateful to the police and security staff for keeping us safe." The crowd clapped, and Amina saw smiles on her friends' faces. She continued, "Especially Mr. Kofi, who risked everything for us." She pointed to him, and the crowd cheered even louder. Mr. Kofi felt a warm glow of pride. After the speeches, the students mingled and enjoyed the food. They shared stories about that scary day and how they felt safe because of each other. Amina listened closely, wanting to remember every moment. She felt proud to be part of a community that cared for one another. Mr. Kofi walked around, enjoying the event. He felt honored to be recognized, but he knew his job was about protecting others, not seeking praise. As he watched the students laugh and share, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had made a difference in their lives, and that was all he ever wanted. As the barbecue continued, Amina approached Mr. Kofi. "Thank you for everything," she said again, her voice filled with sincerity. "You saved my life." Mr. Kofi smiled. "I was just doing my job, Amina. But it feels good to know I could help." They talked about their favorite memories at the college and the dreams they had for the future. Their friendship grew stronger that day. Amina realized she wanted to make a difference, just like Mr. Kofi. "Maybe I can help others, too," she said, feeling inspired. Mr. Kofi nodded. "You already are, Amina. You're a leader." They both smiled, knowing they would always support each other. After the event, Amina felt a new sense of responsibility. She wanted to make sure that everyone at the college felt safe and secure. With Mr. Kofi's guidance, she decided to start a safety club. The club would focus on teaching students how to be aware of their surroundings and what to do in emergencies. Amina shared her idea with her friends, who were excited to join. They brainstormed activities and meetings to help spread awareness. Mr. Kofi offered to help, sharing his knowledge and experiences. "Together, we can make a difference," he said. Amina felt motivated, ready to take action and help others feel secure. The first meeting of the safety club was a success. Students gathered to learn about safety tips and how to respond in emergencies. Mr. Kofi shared stories from his time as a security guard, explaining how important it is to stay alert. Amina listened attentively, feeling proud of her role in the club. They practiced drills and discussed scenarios, making it fun and engaging. Amina encouraged her classmates to ask questions and share their thoughts. "This is about keeping each other safe," she reminded them. The energy in the room was positive, and Amina could see that everyone was eager to learn. As the weeks went by, the safety club gained more members. Amina and her friends organized workshops and events to raise awareness about campus safety. They invited local police officers to speak and share tips with the students. Mr. Kofi continued to support them, attending every meeting and offering his expertise. Amina felt proud of what they were accomplishing. The students were becoming more aware and engaged. They learned how to respond to different situations, and many felt empowered. Amina knew they were building a stronger community, and she was excited to see the changes happening around them. Just when everything seemed to be going well, Amina received troubling news. There had been a string of break-ins near the college, and some students were scared. Amina's heart sank as she listened to her friends express their fears. "What if the bad guys come back?" one friend asked, her voice trembling. Amina knew they had to act quickly to help ease their fears. She called an emergency meeting for the safety club. Mr. Kofi joined her, ready to brainstorm ideas. "We need to remind everyone that we can keep each other safe," he said. Amina nodded, determined to find a way to reassure her classmates. During the emergency meeting, Amina encouraged everyone to share their thoughts on how to address the situation. Some students suggested creating safety patrols on campus, while others wanted to organize a neighborhood watch. Mr. Kofi listened carefully and helped guide the discussion. "Every idea counts," he reminded them. They decided to implement a buddy system, where students would look out for each other while walking to classes. Amina felt hopeful as they planned. "Together, we can make sure everyone feels safe," she said, rallying her friends. The room buzzed with excitement as they prepared to put their ideas into action. The safety club quickly launched the buddy system. Amina and her friends made posters to hang around the campus, encouraging students to pair up and look out for each other. Mr. Kofi helped them set up a meeting spot where students could connect with potential buddies. Amina felt proud to see her classmates getting involved. As they walked around the campus, Amina noticed more students chatting and making plans. The atmosphere was changing. People felt more connected and supported. Mr. Kofi smiled as he saw the students take initiative. He knew they were building a stronger community, one that could withstand challenges together. Just when they felt like they were making progress, a new challenge emerged. One evening, a loud commotion echoed from outside the campus. Amina and her friends rushed outside to see what was happening. They discovered that a group of strangers was causing trouble near the entrance. Amina's heart raced. She knew this was a serious situation. Mr. Kofi quickly assessed the situation, keeping his calm demeanor. "Let's call the police," he instructed. Amina nodded, her fingers trembling as she dialed for help. She watched as Mr. Kofi moved closer to the disturbance, ready to protect the students. Amina felt scared, but she knew they had prepared for moments like this. As they waited for the police to arrive, Mr. Kofi approached the group of troublemakers. "You need to leave this area," he said firmly. The strangers looked at him, sizing him up. Amina could feel her heart pounding in her chest. She was worried about Mr. Kofi but trusted that he knew what he was doing. The troublemakers started to shout back, refusing to leave. Amina felt a mix of fear and admiration for Mr. Kofi's bravery. Just then, the sound of sirens filled the air. Amina felt a wave of relief wash over her as police cars pulled up, lights flashing. The officers quickly assessed the situation and moved to assist Mr. Kofi. With the police on the scene, the troublemakers realized they were outnumbered. They shouted insults but began to back away. Amina watched, her heart racing with anxiety. She felt proud of Mr. Kofi for standing up to them, but she also knew that he had put himself in danger. Once the troublemakers left, the police spoke with Mr. Kofi and checked on the students. Amina approached Mr. Kofi, relieved to see he was okay. "You were so brave," she exclaimed. Mr. Kofi smiled, but he reminded her that staying calm and working together was what kept everyone safe. Amina realized that their community was strong, especially when they stood together. After the incident, Amina gathered her friends to discuss what had happened. They talked about how important it was to stay alert and support each other. Mr. Kofi joined the conversation, sharing insights about personal safety. "It's not just about reacting to trouble, it's about being prepared beforehand," he emphasized. Amina nodded, feeling inspired by his words. They decided to organize a safety workshop to teach students how to recognize and avoid dangerous situations. The atmosphere in the room shifted to one of determination. They knew they could make a difference, and they were ready to take action. The safety club quickly got to work organizing the workshop. Amina and her friends brainstormed topics to cover, including how to handle unexpected situations and who to contact for help. They reached out to local police officers, asking if they could come and share their knowledge. Mr. Kofi supported their efforts, helping to plan every detail. As the day of the workshop approached, Amina felt excited. She wanted to empower her classmates to be proactive and confident. "We're all in this together," she reminded everyone. The energy in the room was infectious, and they were all eager to learn and share. On the day of the workshop, students filled the auditorium, ready to learn about safety. Amina stood at the front, nervous but excited. "Thank you all for coming," she said, smiling at her classmates. Mr. Kofi was there to support her, standing proudly beside her. The police officers began their presentation, sharing real-life experiences and practical advice. Amina watched as her classmates listened intently. She felt a sense of pride in what they had accomplished together. The workshop was a success, and everyone left feeling empowered and informed. In the weeks that followed, Amina noticed a change in her classmates. They were more aware of their surroundings and took their safety seriously. The buddy system was thriving, and students looked out for each other more than ever. Amina felt a sense of accomplishment as she watched the community grow stronger. Mr. Kofi approached her one day, a proud smile on his face. "You've done an amazing job, Amina. You've inspired so many," he said. Amina felt a warmth in her heart. "We did it together, Mr. Kofi. I couldn't have done it without you," she replied, grateful for his support and guidance. As the semester went on, the college community became closer than ever. Students started to participate in more events and activities together. Amina felt proud to be part of a team that had made a real difference. They had shown that when they worked together, they could overcome any challenge. Mr. Kofi was proud of the changes he had seen at the college. He had witnessed the students grow and support one another. "You've built a community that looks out for each other," he told Amina. She smiled, knowing that their hard work had paid off. They had turned fear into strength, and the college felt like a safer place. Just as things seemed to settle down, Amina received alarming news. There were rumors of another group trying to cause trouble near the college. Fear began to spread among the students. Amina gathered her friends to discuss the situation. "We need to stay calm and prepared," she said, trying to reassure them. Mr. Kofi joined the conversation, reminding everyone that they had learned valuable lessons. "We can't let fear control us," he stated firmly. Amina felt grateful for his wisdom. They decided to hold another meeting for the safety club, planning how to respond to the rumors and ensure everyone felt safe. During the safety club meeting, Amina encouraged her friends to share their thoughts. They brainstormed ideas on how to keep students informed and aware of the situation. Mr. Kofi suggested creating a communication system to share updates quickly. Amina nodded, excited about the possibilities. They worked together to set up a group chat for students to receive alerts and share information. Amina felt a sense of unity among her friends. "We're stronger together, and we can face any challenge," she reminded them. The atmosphere was filled with determination as they prepared for whatever might come. As the weeks passed, the rumors of danger lingered, but Amina and her friends remained vigilant. They kept the communication system active, ensuring everyone was informed. Students were on the lookout for anything suspicious, ready to report it. Amina felt proud of their efforts and the community's commitment to safety. Mr. Kofi regularly checked in with the students, offering his support and guidance. He reminded them that staying aware was key to preventing trouble. "Don't hesitate to speak up," he encouraged them. Amina knew that with Mr. Kofi by their side, they could face anything that came their way. One afternoon, as Amina was wrapping up a meeting, she noticed a stranger hanging around the campus. He looked out of place, and Amina felt a twinge of unease. "Who is that?" she asked Mr. Kofi, who had just entered the room. He turned to look, his expression serious. "Let's find out," he replied, leading Amina outside. As they approached the stranger, Amina could feel her heart racing. Mr. Kofi kept a calm demeanor, ready to assess the situation. The stranger noticed them approaching and began to walk away. "Excuse me," Mr. Kofi called out, his voice steady. Amina held her breath, wondering what would happen next. The stranger stopped and turned to face them. "Can I help you?" he asked, feigning innocence. Amina could sense something was off, but she stayed quiet as Mr. Kofi calmly introduced himself. "We're just checking in. You don't seem familiar around here." The stranger shifted uncomfortably, glancing around. Amina watched closely, ready to support Mr. Kofi if needed. "I'm just passing through," the stranger replied, trying to sound casual. Mr. Kofi raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? We like to keep our campus safe. If you're visiting, we'd appreciate knowing who you're here to see." Amina felt a mix of fear and admiration for Mr. Kofi's confidence. The stranger hesitated, looking increasingly nervous. Just a friend," he mumbled, avoiding eye contact. Amina exchanged a worried glance with Mr. Kofi. "What's your friend's name?" Mr. Kofi pressed gently, still maintaining a calm tone. The stranger swallowed hard, clearly caught off guard. I don't remember," he stammered. Amina felt a knot form in her stomach. Something didn't feel right. "Maybe we should get the police involved," she suggested quietly, glancing at Mr. Kofi. He nodded slightly, his expression serious. Just as Amina was about to pull out her phone, the stranger bolted. "Hey!" Mr. Kofi shouted, but the stranger was already sprinting away. Amina felt a surge of adrenaline as she and Mr. Kofi took off after him. "We can't let him get away," she yelled, determined to help. They chased him across the campus, dodging students and obstacles. Amina's heart raced as she pushed herself to keep up. "Call the police," Mr. Kofi instructed, his voice steady. Amina fumbled for her phone, trying to dial quickly while running. As they rounded a corner, the stranger glanced back, panic evident in his eyes. Amina could see he was losing steam. "We're almost there," she shouted, trying to encourage Mr. Kofi. They turned another corner, and Amina could see the campus security booth ahead. "Over there," she pointed. Mr. Kofi nodded, sprinting faster. Just as they reached the booth, Amina managed to dial 911. "Please help. There's a suspicious person on campus," she said breathlessly. The operator assured her help was on the way as she and Mr. Kofi watched the stranger dart away from the booth. Moments later, police cars pulled up, sirens blaring. Amina pointed toward the direction the stranger had gone. "He went that way," she exclaimed, her heart racing. The officers jumped out of their vehicles, ready to assist. "Stay here," one officer instructed as they fanned out to search the area. Amina felt a mix of fear and relief. She glanced at Mr. Kofi, who was catching his breath. "You did great, Amina," he said, his voice steady. She smiled weakly, grateful for his support but still worried about what might happen next. As the officers searched for the stranger, students began to gather around, curious and concerned. Amina felt a sense of unity among her classmates. "We're all looking out for each other," she said, reminding them of the importance of staying vigilant. After a few tense minutes, the police officers returned with the stranger in custody. A wave of relief washed over Amina and her friends. "Great job, everyone," one of the officers said, addressing the crowd. "Your quick actions helped keep this campus safe." Amina felt proud of how the community had come together to respond. Later that day, Amina gathered with her friends to reflect on the events. "I can't believe that happened," one friend said, shaking her head. Amina nodded, feeling grateful they had been prepared. "We did everything we could," she reminded them. Mr. Kofi joined the group, sharing his insights. "Staying calm and working together is key," he emphasized. Amina felt inspired by the support they had received. They had turned fear into action, proving that they could face challenges together. "Let's keep working to make our campus safe," she suggested. Everyone agreed, excited to continue their efforts to promote safety. In the weeks that followed, Amina and her friends remained committed to building a stronger community. They organized additional workshops and events, reinforcing the importance of safety. Mr. Kofi continued to support their efforts, sharing his experiences and insights. Amina felt proud of what they had accomplished together. The campus atmosphere had changed. Students felt more empowered and connected. She knew that they could face any challenge as long as they worked together and looked out for one another. As the semester drew to a close, Amina reflected on the journey they had taken. They had faced fears and challenges but had emerged stronger as a community. Amina felt grateful for Mr. Kofi's guidance and the friendships she had built. "We can do anything when we stand together," she reminded her friends. Mr. Kofi nodded, proud of Amina's growth and leadership. "You've all become incredible advocates for safety. Keep it up," he encouraged them. Amina felt inspired by his words, ready to continue her mission to help others. As Amina prepared for the next semester, she felt a sense of excitement for the future. She wanted to expand the safety club and reach even more students. With Mr. Kofi by her side, she knew they could make a lasting impact on campus. "We're just getting started," she said, her eyes shining with determination. Her friends echoed her enthusiasm, eager to continue their work. They planned new initiatives, hoping to spread awareness and empower their peers. Amina felt a sense of hope for what lay ahead, ready to face whatever challenges came their way. With each passing day, Amina saw the positive changes within her community. Students were more engaged, and the atmosphere felt safer. Amina knew that their hard work was paying off, but she remained committed to ensuring they didn't lose momentum. Together with Mr. Kofi, Amina began planning a Safety Awareness Week. They would host events and activities to remind students of the importance of staying safe and looking out for each other. Amina felt energized, ready to lead her peers in making a difference. As the Safety Awareness Week approached, Amina felt a deep sense of purpose. She wanted to leave a lasting legacy, one that would ensure the safety of future students. Mr. Kofi continued to mentor her, helping her refine her plans. "You have the power to inspire change," he told her, and Amina believed it. On the first day of the Safety Awareness Week, Amina stood in front of her classmates, filled with excitement. "This is our chance to make a difference," she exclaimed, her heart full of hope. Together, they would continue to build a community that prioritized safety and support, ensuring that everyone felt protected and empowered. Amina knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united by their commitment to each other's safety and well-being. The first day of Safety Awareness Week dawned bright and clear. Amina arrived on campus early, feeling a flutter of excitement in her stomach. She set up a booth with her friends, displaying colorful posters about safety tips and resources. Mr. Kofi joined them, proud of the work they had accomplished. This week is all about spreading knowledge, he said, smiling at the eager students. As students began to trickle in, Amina greeted them warmly. Join us. We're sharing important safety tips, she called out. Many students paused, curious about the booth. Amina felt a surge of happiness as more people gathered around, ready to learn. She knew they were starting something special. The first workshop of the week was scheduled for later that day. Amina and her friends prepared diligently, making sure everything was in order. They had invited police officers to discuss personal safety and emergency procedures. Amina felt a sense of responsibility as she reviewed the agenda with her team. When the time came, the auditorium filled with students eager to learn. Amina welcomed everyone, her voice confident and clear. Thank you all for being here. We're excited to share important information that can help keep us safe. The officers took the stage, ready to engage the students with valuable lessons. As the officers began their presentation, Amina listened attentively. They shared stories from their experiences, highlighting how to stay aware of surroundings and what to do in emergencies. Amina watched her classmates nodding along, their expressions serious and engaged. The officers demonstrated self-defense techniques, showing how even small actions could make a difference. Amina felt empowered as she watched her friends participate, trying out the moves. They were learning valuable skills, and she could see the confidence building within them. After the presentation, Amina opened the floor for questions. Students eagerly raised their hands, wanting to know more. Amina facilitated the discussion, excited to see so many people invested in their safety. One student asked about how to handle potential threats on campus. The officers responded thoughtfully, offering practical advice. Always trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, don't hesitate to seek help, one officer advised. Amina felt a sense of reassurance as the students absorbed the information. They were becoming more informed and prepared, which was exactly what she had hoped for. As the week continued, Amina decided to share her own experience of facing the stranger on campus. During the next meeting, she stood in front of her classmates, her heart pounding. I want to share something that happened recently, she began, looking around the room. Her friends listened intently as she recounted the events leading up to the police involvement. Amina wanted everyone to understand that safety could sometimes be unpredictable, but being aware and prepared could make a difference. When she finished, her classmates applauded, and several shared their own stories. The atmosphere in the room shifted as students began to open up. They shared experiences of feeling unsafe or uncertain, and Amina listened, providing comfort and support. You're not alone, she reassured them. We're in this together. Mr. Kofi watched proudly as Amina created a safe space for her peers. She was developing into a leader, fostering a sense of community and belonging. The students' willingness to share their feelings demonstrated how far they had come in building trust among one another. Inspired by the success of Safety Awareness Week, Amina and her friends decided to expand the Safety Club. They wanted to reach more students and continue promoting safety on campus. Amina took the lead, brainstorming ideas for new events and activities. They planned to host regular workshops, inviting guest speakers and community leaders to share their insights. Amina felt excited about the possibilities. We can make our campus a safer place for everyone, she declared. The group cheered, feeling motivated and ready to take on the challenge. To further their mission, Amina and her friends reached out to local organizations for support. They met with community leaders, explaining their goals and seeking partnerships. Amina felt nervous but determined as she presented their vision. Many organizations responded positively, offering resources and expertise. They agreed to collaborate on future events and safety initiatives. Amina felt a wave of gratitude as she realized how much support they had from the community. Together, they could make a real impact. With the partnerships established, Amina and her team organized a community safety fair. They wanted to invite students, families, and local residents to learn more about safety resources. Amina was excited as they planned activities, demonstrations, and informational booths. On the day of the fair, the campus buzzed with energy. Families arrived, curious and eager to participate. Amina stood at the entrance, welcoming everyone with a big smile. Welcome. We're glad you're here, she exclaimed, feeling proud of what they had created. Throughout the fair, Amina watched as students and families interacted with the various booths. Local police officers provided safety tips, while health organizations offered first aid demonstrations. Amina felt a sense of fulfillment as people engaged with the resources available to them. The highlight of the day was a self-defense demonstration. Amina joined her friends on stage, showcasing what they had learned during the workshops. The crowd cheered, and Amina felt a rush of confidence. She was proud to be part of a community committed to safety and support. As the fair continued, Amina noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was the state governor's daughter, Sarah, who had been attending the college. Amina felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. What's she doing here? She wondered, wanting to make a good impression. Sarah approached Amina's booth, her eyes bright with curiosity. Hi. This is amazing. I love what you're doing here, she said, smiling. Amina felt a wave of pride. Thank you. We're all about promoting safety and support on campus, she replied, eager to share their mission. As they chatted, Amina discovered that Sarah was genuinely interested in their efforts. I've seen the changes on campus, Sarah said. I think it's wonderful. Amina felt a connection forming, excited to have a new friend who understood their mission. They exchanged contact information, promising to stay in touch. Amina felt inspired by Sarah's enthusiasm and support. She knew that having someone like Sarah on their side could help amplify their message even further. After the fair, Amina and Sarah met to discuss ways they could collaborate. We should plan an event together, Sarah suggested, her eyes shining with excitement. Amina loved the idea. What about a safety workshop for students? She replied, eager to brainstorm. They spent hours planning, bouncing ideas off each other. Amina felt energized by Sarah's creativity and passion. Together, they could reach even more students and continue spreading awareness about safety on campus. The day of the joint workshop arrived, and Amina was thrilled. They had prepared an engaging program filled with activities and guest speakers. Amina felt a mix of nerves and excitement as she took the stage alongside Sarah. Welcome, everyone. We're here to talk about staying safe on campus, Amina said, her voice steady. Sarah added, we believe that knowledge is power, and we want to empower each of you to stay safe and look out for one another. The crowd erupted in applause, and Amina felt a sense of camaraderie among everyone present. The workshop included interactive activities, allowing students to practice self-defense techniques and learn about emergency procedures. Amina led a session on recognizing dangerous situations, while Sarah facilitated discussions about personal safety. Students participated eagerly, asking questions and sharing their thoughts. Amina felt a wave of happiness as she watched her peers engaging and learning. They were building a stronger community, one that prioritized safety and support. As the workshop came to a close, Amina and Sarah encouraged students to continue discussing safety issues. They distributed pamphlets with resources and contact information for local organizations. Amina felt proud to see everyone leaving with valuable knowledge. Thank you all for being here, Amina exclaimed, her heart full of gratitude. As the crowd dispersed, she and Sarah exchanged excited smiles. They had made a positive impact, and Amina felt inspired to continue their mission. With the success of the joint workshop, Amina and Sarah decided to launch a monthly safety series. They planned to invite various speakers and cover different topics each month. Amina felt excited to keep the momentum going. As they promoted the series, word spread quickly. More students began to express interest, eager to participate. Amina felt proud of what they had accomplished together and looked forward to reaching even more people. The first session of the monthly safety series was packed with students eager to learn. Amina took the stage, her heart racing with excitement. Welcome, everyone. We're thrilled to have you here for our first session, she said, her voice steady. As they dove into discussions and activities, Amina felt a sense of belonging. Students were sharing their thoughts and experiences, building stronger connections with one another. Amina knew that they were creating a supportive environment, one that would last long beyond the series. As the months passed, Amina took time to reflect on their progress. She saw the positive changes on campus. Students were more engaged and supportive of one another. Amina felt grateful for the friendships and connections she had made. Mr. Kofi continued to mentor her, reminding her of the impact they were having. "You've helped create a safer community," he said, his pride evident. Amina felt inspired to keep working hard, knowing they could continue making a difference together. As the semester drew to a close, Amina felt a sense of accomplishment. They had built a thriving community focused on safety and support. Amina was excited for what the future held, envisioning even more opportunities to empower her peers. "I can't wait to see how far we can go," she told Sarah one day as they walked across campus. "Together, we can create a legacy of safety." Sarah smiled, her eyes sparkling with determination. "Absolutely. This is just the beginning." Amina felt a wave of hope wash over her, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing they would do it together. Months later, Amina looked around at the campus bustling with students. She felt proud of how much they had accomplished together. The safety initiatives had become a vital part of campus life, and Amina knew they were making a difference in people's lives. With her friends and community by her side, Amina realized that they had turned fear into action, transforming their campus into a place where everyone felt safe and supported. She understood the importance of their work and was excited to see the impact it would continue to have for years to come. Together, they had built a legacy of safety and unity, and Amina knew it would inspire future generations to come.